Our next guest, we're going to be talking about a very sensitive subject. And I might not have shared this before, but there were 2 times in my life that I felt that I was actually sexually mistreated. And our next guest, his name is Derek, and we're going to be talking about that topic and more. Please watch. Hi. So I just said a very sensitive thing, and you had shared with me earlier when we were talking that a lot of times people won't come forward. And why is that, Derek? So it's Derek Smith Law.
Yes.
Okay.
First of all, Donna, thank you very much for having me today. And I am glad that I have an opportunity to speak to you about sexual harassment, sexual assault, because too often women do not come forward and they are scared for various reasons. And almost every single woman that I've ever spoken to about this subject has told me that at some point in their lives they have been sexually harassed or sexually assaulted. And I'm shocked to hear these stories. And fortunately, there has been a huge movement over the past 10 years where women are feeling more and more courageous to come forward and do something about it. And the legislatures across the country have kept step with this, and they have provided even stronger laws and extended the statute of limitations, the time to do something about it, in some cases for unlimited amount of time.
Yeah, in my instance, you know, I don't talk about it ever. I don't think about it. And maybe it was like 3 times. Once when I was a child in grade school, a girl pinned me down, and then twice as an older adult. You know, I was in a situation where I felt trapped. I couldn't get out of a situation, but I got out, right? But it is scary, and it's real. And if it can happen to somebody like me, it can happen to anybody, right? So when someone decides that they're going to take the courage and they're going to call you Derek, right? What are the steps that you help them be brave about? Like, what are some of the steps when you feel like they have a case or, you know?
So the first thing I do is I commend them. I commend them on coming and doing something about it and standing up. Because one of the things that we're trying to do here is we're trying to tell the aggressor, tell the sexual harasser, stop. This is not going to happen anymore, and it's not going to happen to anyone else. And the way to do that is to, 1, you make them compensate the victim for what happened. 2, you make them pay punitive damages, which have a twofold effect. 1, it punishes them so that they don't do that anymore. And 2, it deters not just them, but others from doing anything like that. So when you hear these big verdicts or these big settlements, well, they serve a purpose. Because remember, when someone who has millions or even billions of dollars, how are you going to punish that person beyond a slap on the wrist so that they don't do it again? They need to pay dearly for that. So what I say to the women who come to me, don't be scared. I'm going to protect you. Very often they could stay confidential and their name doesn't have to be revealed, and we could have a confidential pre-litigation settlement. And if that's not possible, very often they could be an anonymous Jane Doe or John Doe if they move forward with a lawsuit.
Interesting. So you always want to protect that person's privacy and, you know, the integrity of who they are by keeping it sometimes under wraps. Right?
We do, and the courts recognize that if we didn't, it could have a chilling effect, just like we were talking about, that women may be scared of coming forward.
Yeah, it's a really sensitive thing because even at my age, right, it's something that people didn't talk about. The other night at dinner, somebody had said that they had been abused in their marriage, but the person, nothing ever happened because people used to just look the other way. People are less likely now to look the other way. And I think it's because of conversation. It's by someone like yourself that decides that this is going to be the specialty. And you said something interesting too, and I asked you why. And what is your reason? Why did you decide to go into this tract?
So we all need employment to make money, to have a roof over our head. But this is an area for me that makes me feel good about what I do. And you know, there are 2 professions that come to mind where we're trying to eliminate the need for us. One's medicine. They're trying to find cures for all the diseases. And 2, discrimination and sexual harassment lawyers, we are trying to have large settlements, large verdicts, hold people accountable so that the rest of the world takes notice and they stop doing it.
You travel a lot. So not only are you, you have a law office here, but you have it in other locations, but you're willing to help anybody coast to coast, or at least find somebody that can help them, correct?
Absolutely. We're in California, in Los Angeles, San Diego, San Francisco. We're in all over New York, Pennsylvania, Florida, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C. So we cover the entire country, and there are federal laws that are uniform all throughout the United States that protect us, women, men, from sexual harassment and sexual assault.
Now, a few years ago, I did a story on this subject, and I thought that there was like this limit, like this time limit, right? And after that, nothing was going to happen. But you shared with me that another law kind of superseded that and kind of helped open up the doors again. What is that?
Correct. So what you're referring to is we saw a huge number of sexual harassment, sexual assault cases come forward last year. And that's because there was something in New York called the Adult Survivors Act, which expired last November in 2023. What people don't also realize is there is another New York law called the Gender Motivated Violence Protection Law, which gives people up until February 28th of 2025 to bring a case for sexual assault and sexual harassment. But beyond that, there are similar laws in California and the Trafficking Victims Protection Act, which is a federal law all over the United States, which gives people 10 years to sue for sexual assaults when certain things are proven.
It's sad. It's like really, really sad that anybody even has to go through something like that. But Derek, it's nice to know that if they are being challenged or they need help, that you're there helping them. So
it is. It's horrible. And I remember years ago when I first started practicing, a lawyer kind of chided me and said, "Derek, don't get so emotional about this. We're lawyers. These are our clients. We're supposed to look at this objectively," because I was getting really angry and screaming at him about something. And I said, no, I think it's our job to become emotional, to step in their shoes. And we were talking about children before. I think of what would happen if this were my wife, my daughter, my mother, my sister, and that's the representation that they need because what they went through is absolutely heart-wrenching, and nobody should ever have to do that, and the people who are responsible need to pay.
And any type of harassment, any type of abuse. There are, here in Long Island, there are safe houses, there are safe havens, there are safe centers, right? And I'm sure across the United States there are. So when somebody needs help, they just need to call you, and I'm sure you could help, perform like the resources and the steps that need to be taken. So.
Absolutely. There's criminal, there's civil, like the P. Diddy, for example.
Okay.
So he's currently in prison, in jail, because he's accused of the criminal crime of violating the Sex Trafficking Victims Protection Act, what I mentioned before. So that's the criminal aspect. But that law also has a civil component, what over 100 people are now suing him for, where they're entitled to money damages. And the two of them combined, they come together whenever a person is convicted of the crime, you automatically win in the civil part of the case.
Interesting.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the time that you spent here, and I also appreciate you for who you are and how you help others. Thank you very much, Derek.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. So if you're a victim, if you need help, if you even think that you're feeling uncomfortable coming forward, please come forward. I mean, I just said what my truth was. So if you're someone like me and you're bothered by something, just seek the help. Thanks for watching.